I'm happy to be here to tell you a little bit about our work, our trends that we think are relevant for you and for your industry. The first message today is this one here: the future is now, because there's so many things going on. We've been dealing with trends and the idea of how trends are generated and which trends have an influence on the different areas for more than 10 years. And we've about 80 trend scouts working for us in 19 different language regions. We have about 2,000 micro trends, best practice examples coming in every month. So there's a lot of things going on right now, and there's a lot of things that need to be identified. And one thing that we found out in more than 10 years of trend research is the problem that when you think about the future and about future issues, it's always hard to do this by yourself, right? Because you can't imagine a possible future, but it's better if you do it together with other people. So the first thing that I'm going to ask you today, and don't worry, it's also the last thing that I'll ask you, is this one. Do the following exercise with me. Raise for 20 seconds and close your eyes. All stand up. You're going to sit during the presentation for a long time anyway. Close your eyes and think about today in 10 years. What will be your work, your daily work in 10 years from now? Which technologies will be around? If that's hard for you, try to think 10 years back. Just there's some hints. You know, there's 10 years ago there was no smartphone. Facebook was around for 2 years. So close your eyes and think about, imagine a future 10 years from now. All right, that was it. No more exercises, I promise you that. But of course, I want to ask the smart people, did you see any technologies that you think will be there in 10 years from now? Any technologies? No? No? Too many? All right, let's start. I brought you a video where you'll probably see a lot of technologies that will be there in the future. And the reason why I'm showing you that video is a very simple one. This is what your daily life could look like in 10 years from now, because all the technologies that are shown in this video are already out there. They're not mass market ready, but they're out there. So if you wake up in 10 years from now, probably everything could be a little bit blurry, but that could be because you're using some augmented reality devices, means you enrich what you see. So for example, if you have not a nice day as today in Riga, then probably look out the window, touch the window screen, and get the image of a better weather. Technology is already out there. Also, object recognition technology is already out there, so objects will be recognized. You can immediately have the calorie counter, or you can immediately have a tap, for example, on simple structures like wood or glass and order things. The bad thing about this is that even in the future you might have to go to work. So if you go down your stairways, you can probably use some diminished reality and get rid of your bothering neighbor. But when you go on the street, for example, and this is when it gets more and more exciting, you probably can see what people think of you, also probably see what they want from you. And then, when you go downstairs, or when you go down to the metro, or to the U-Bahn, as we say in German, it gets really interesting, because then you'll see this here, personalized commercials everywhere. So no more Streuverluste, but personalized commercials. So I know it's a lot of information. So what do you think? Is this science? Is this fiction, science fiction? What do you think?
Scary.
Sorry?
Scary.
Scary?
Reality.
Reality? Who thinks this is more fiction? Raise your hands. Okay, that's 4. Who thinks this is more towards science? Raise your hands. So, okay, so that's about 20. The rest is kind of in between. But I told you before, the reason why I like to show this video is because all the technologies that are embedded in this video are already out there. The problem is, and we'll see that later on, is that a lot of them are not mass market ready. That's probably not on these devices that are shown here, but they're already out there. This is where we came from. We have to imagine this, right? This is how it used to be in the 90s. big speakers, large computers. I think this must be a processor, early 90s, end of 80s, something like that. We skipped this, and now we're going slowly but steadily towards this, right? Technology, new forms of technology, augmented reality glasses, contact lenses, the Internet of Things going into devices that haven't been smart before. So you could literally say it's from an area of no tech that we don't know anymore to high tech. That's what we all know. If you think about our living rooms in the 90s, to an area of shy tech where it is technology, more technology than ever around us, but embedded so that we almost don't recognize it. And this is one of my favorite charts. Keep this in mind. If you don't keep anything in mind from today's presentation, I want you to keep this in mind. This is the present rate of technology adoption. It starts here in 1900. This is the telephone. This is electricity. And this here, if you see 2000, from 2000 to 2010, is all new technologies raising. Internet, digital camera, MP3 player, HD TV, social media, smartphone, tablet going on. So the adoption rate of technology for us humans is goes more and more towards a vertical line. So this means once there's a new technology out there that is standard, we're adapting it almost all of a sudden. And the problem for us is, and also for the industry, is if people adapt this, you have to adapt too, right? You have to offer them content for their devices or whatever technologies they're using that fits for them. So this is something that you really have to keep in mind. This goes very fast. And so where do trends come in this direction? Trends are always game changers. A trend is always a phenomenon of change. So when those trends go disruptive, you all know what happened to Kodak, right? They invented digital photography, but they didn't really go along with it, so they just went insolvent. Same thing here, right? Taxi, I've been to the Silicon Valley, it was 2 weeks ago. When I came there, the biggest taxi company in San Francisco just went bankrupt. Nobody uses a taxi there anymore. It's just only Uber and Lyft. And for your industry, for the tourism industry, sharing economy, models like Airbnb and so on, they're taking more and more a bigger portion. You all know that, but I think this is something that you really have to keep in mind, that disruptive models, trends that are probably seen as ridiculous in the first moment, like it was with Airbnb, because the first 12 investment meetings they had, all the investors said, well, this is complete, sorry the word, bullshit. Now it's worth, I think, $20 billion or something like that. So disruptive technologies and disruptive changes can very often be seen if you look at pictures like this. This was the Pope election in 2005, and this was the Pope election in 2013. So you just see something is changing out there, and it's very often trends, phenomena of change that lead us towards this direction. And I want to show you today 6 different trends that, in my opinion, are relevant for your industry, and I want to name them right now. So the first one is attention economy. The second and the third one are virtual reality and augmented reality. Those are 2 trends that are very close to each other, but I'll separate them for better understanding. Smart everything, that's my personal favorite trend because it has a lot to do with artificial intelligence. Robots and drones, also very interested in this combination, and in the end, social spin. So these 2, of course, attention economy and social spin, they go very well together, and those 2 go together. All of them are kind of in one glass, mixed all together. So we start with the first one, attention economy. This is nothing new, but there's a lot of new ways you can use the attention economy for your industry, because in an urban area, every day we're bombarded with around 3,000 commercial messages every day. So what we've learned is that we just blend information out, right? We go like a skier down the slalom, skiers go down the slope, go like this, blend out informations. So what does this mean for you as an industry is still you have to get into people's minds. You have to make yourself relevant. And one way to make yourself relevant could, of course, be good content, could be good use of technology, but it can also be this one here, multi-sense marketing. And I'll show you a few examples. where this was, in my opinion, done very good. So the first one that I would like to start with, this was done by Rosa Parks, that's the agency from France. They did it for Thalys, which is a provider of trains between cities in that area, between Paris, Brussels, and Amsterdam. And so they said, we'll use the audio sensors, we'll create or we'll catch typical city sounds on billboards. So, for example, Paris, as you all can see, but not only Paris, they also went to Brussels. Sounds when they fried the famous frites. They went to Amsterdam, so they captured those sound identities. Because every city has a different smell, has a different sound, and then that's the genius part of it. They all put it in one billboard, like one billboard for every city. And they used an existing technology because everyone runs around with their earphones on, so people already had their earphones. So they created a billboard with different jacks where they could just plug in and hear a different sound. See, unique headphone jack from the zoo.
Spreekt u Nederlands?
So you could start exploring a city before you're even there. And I think that's a very interesting concept, not only with an audio sense, but also if you refer to a visual sense, exploring a tourist destination before you're already there. I was talking about being there before you actually are there, and this is a great example. We call this snack size media, and it's especially true for tourism destinations, right? If you close your eyes sometimes when you're in your office and you just want to be there, one of those places is always, of course, places like Italy where you think, oh, the nice beaches and the great architecture, and so I just want to be there now for 2 or 3 minutes whatsoever. And so what San Pellegrino did, the Italian sparkling water company, they used robots, those two guys here, so you can steer those robots just using your iPad or whatever technical device. Just go around in Cinque Terre and have a look at the sea and so on, steer the robots, talk to other people there, and go back. And in terms of snack size media, the next step would of course be that you say, okay, now I took a snap of this, I took a pre-look at a tourist destination, now I just want to buy it, right? That's the easiest thing to do in your mind. And I'll show you that this already works, not in the tourism industry yet, but I'll show you an example from a totally different industry, but that's what it's all about, learn from other industries. For example, this is what Domino's did in the US. If you order a pizza, all you do is you have to, of course, first register, but they use Twitter, so you would register with Domino's, and then you just use emojis for ordering a pizza. I'll show you how it works.
Don't want to type lengthy words to order food? Now you can tweet your order at Domino's using your pizza emoji, which is perfect because I love pizza. Hey guys.
I love pizza. It's very simple. So Domino's already knows because you would have to register, and most of us already almost order the same pizza when you eat pizza. And all you have to do is you go there. I love pizza at Domino's, and then you get the pizza delivered to your address. So if you think this of the idea transfer to a different industry, if you think of I need holiday or I love Riga or whatsoever, you can easily do this in the same way. If somebody does this, you can just send him promotion material whatsoever. It's all there. The technology is out there. Just the idea transfer from one industry to the other. So I know what you're thinking. So I've been talking a lot of technology now, and I will later on talk even more about technology, but I want to show you that, especially in the attention economy, it's not about technology and not only about technology. You can do great campaigns or great promotions without any technology. It's all about the attention and like getting into people's minds. This is why I like this example so much. It's done by a supermarket chain from Canada. It's called Table Infusion, and they use personal butlers at the supermarket instead of shopping carts. So you can see here. Because we're all sleepwalkers, we go to the supermarkets and grab the milk and whatsoever. So they just changed these carts with humans, no technology.
Your personal butler today. What are we shopping for?
Oh my god. So of course not everybody's happy, but those butlers could have been used in different ways. And if you think as a tourist destination, if you say you're a nice people and you know people want to experience a lot of your country, why not come up with an idea like this somewhere? Very helpful. Okay, so I guess that's the it's not probably the only case without any technology, but now we're getting deeper and deeper into technology because it's of course a big topic these days, and it's the second trend after attention economy that I really want to keep you. I really want you to keep this in mind. Virtual reality. 2 years ago, this was like, wow, this is something for kids and for gamers and so on. Well, last week, I think, it was January 26th, Tim Cook, Apple CEO, said, well, virtual reality is not a niche and has interesting applications, which of course means if he says that, that they're already working on something big. So, has anyone in here ever had some experiences with devices like this? Could you raise your hands? So that's it's about 10. Any reactions? Good, bad?
Good.
Good? Bad? Bad?
Awful.
Awful. In what way?
Felt sick.
Yeah, that happens a lot. But the immersion is. Did you use the Oculus Rift or?
Yeah. It was, but it's nowhere near as good as a flight simulator. So
Yeah, that's of course.
you can do all sorts of neat tricks, but it's not that good.
It's probably you felt like those guys here. That's you can easily look it up on YouTube. It's just funny Oculus movements. My point is here, the immersion is sometimes so intense that people, even with this here, it's just from developer kit to, it's just a roller coaster ride, but the immersion is so deep that people react like this. So this is not made up, this is true, these are true reactions. Like you said, you felt sick. We had people, when we did it on stage, that fell out of their chairs because the immersion, like the way people react to this and how they feel it is really intense. And he's my favorite one because he gets really scared. Watch this. No. But the point is, until a certain day, because this whole virtual reality boom now was pushed by a guy called Paul Malucky, who founded Oculus Rift. He was a gamer. He wanted to have more immersion into his video games, and now this went broader and broader. Facebook bought it, and now this is, for example, a possible future. Why Facebook and all the others are so interested in it? Because there's so many things to do. Let me go back here because you probably didn't see this. So imagine in a couple of years, you go online, go to Facebook, you get the question, do you have Oculus, yes or no? If you go to yes, you just put on your Oculus Rift. And then you go to a supermarket. Yeah, it doesn't have to be the Citadel Hall anymore, you just can do it online. And who says that at Facebook they already have a bank license, why not going to a shopping mall? That's an easier thing to build. So then he would go online, he would have a sensor, a motion sensor that he could grab the product virtually, feel it, use the social network to get some expert advice here. Probably says, well, this is too cheap for your girlfriend, get a better one. But you're getting the picture. This is just one of the possibilities that are out there. What's already pretty popular is Scandinavian Air Services does this, Virgin Atlantic does it too. So you get a preview of the service. You can go into the new cabin. You can already do this online. You just have to go to SAS. You can see the new cabin in a 360-degree panorama resolution. But if you would have a virtual reality device, you can really get an even better impression. So you could get a preview for the service. And this is something out of the tourism industry that's pretty impressive. I think Marriott's always a very innovative company when it comes to technology. What they did is they have a target group, honeymooners, because they have a lot of resorts for honeymooners. So they just put in front of a wedding chapel in New York City, they put two like shower cabins. They let the people wear virtual reality devices. They showed them videos of beaches and so on where they have their resorts. And in this shower cabin, they also had some stimulation with, sea breeze and so on. So people really got into it, really got a preview of the brand and of the service and of the experiences that could be the final destination. And it gets even deeper because this mask can even stimulate you more. We go back to multi-sense marketing here. This has, it generates 4 senses, vibrations and heat. So if you have your virtual reality devices and you put on the mask to it, your immersive experience gets more and more realistic. I know what you're thinking. You look more and more like Darth Vader because if you wear the mask and if you wear the headphones and if you wear this. But this is a word that we're getting closer to. So this was virtual reality. The next thing I want to point out is augmented reality, because it's not the same thing. With virtual reality, you create virtual worlds that can look a lot like the real world, but they're virtually created. With augmented reality, what you do is you put different layers over the real world, so you see more than there's actually there. Let me show you what this is. Or for example, this is what I want to point out too. Many years, augmented reality was some kind of, some kids playing around with things that was a technology that shows us more than there is in reality. Just yesterday, it was announced that the startup Magic Leap, it raised 793 million funding, and the validation of this is $4.5 billion by Alibaba, and all the big ones from the Silicon Valley are in there. And they don't have a product out yet there. Can you imagine? So this is all like, they have great mood sensors on, they have great things that you can see, but it's not that they would have invented in a real technology that's already out there on the market. The same thing last year, there's a big company, or there's a famous company, I should say, from Munich, Germany. It's called Metaio. They made things for audience on last year. What happened? They had 200 programmers in Munich. Apple walked in. They closed the company, and they took the 15 best software engineers, transported them to Silicon Valley, and they closed down the company because they want to own the technology. This is how hot augmented reality is, and they will work on a standard so we can walk around in the near future, and if we like to do this, see more than there's out there to see. So probably in the near future, we will have glasses or whatsoever to be able to work like we do this today with our smartphones, just to do different things. So let's do a cut here. There was virtual reality, augmented reality. I want to talk about this.
When it first arrived from Amazon,
Smart everything, because this is going to be, in my opinion, one of the hottest things. Artificial intelligence, smart everything. Take a look at this video, you know what I mean.
I didn't know what it was. What is it?
You'll see.
Is it for me?
It's for everyone. It's called Amazon Echo.
How's it going?
I'm just finishing up right now.
Is it on?
Oh, it's always on.
Can it hear me right now?
No, it only hears you when you use the wake word we chose. Alexa.
Well, what does it do?
Alexa, what do you do?
I can play music, answer questions, get the news and weather, create to-do lists, and much more.
Awesome. Alexa, play rock music.
Rock music.
Alexa, stop.
Wait, I want to try. Alexa, what time is it?
The time is 3:27.
You actually don't have to yell at it, okay? It uses far-field technology, so it can hear you from anywhere in the room.
So it can just hear you anywhere?
Yes. Well, everyone can hear you anyway.
Oh. Is that where we're going to put it?
I was thinking of putting it there, but it works anywhere.
Echo is pretty neat because it knows all sorts of things.
It's on
All you have to do is ask.
Alexa, how tall is Mount Everest?
Mount Everest's height is 29,029 feet, 8,848 meters.
How can it know so much? It's so small.
It updates using the cloud. That's also how it gets its answers.
Just read that off the box, Tom.
And this is the interesting thing, right? It's kind of a layer between us humans that it will be more and more a machine. Will be more and more software that we'll be talking to, not from person to person. This guy here, famous egghead from Silicon Valley, Mark Andreessen from Andreessen Horowitz, he put out this famous quote, "Software will eat the world." If you go to the Valley, that's all you hear all the time. He says, there's going to be so much intelligent software around that there will be more communication in the future, but it won't be between humans and humans. There's going to be a lot of communication between humans to machines and machines to machines anyway. This guy here, it's called John Andrea. He's from Today. Just read that on the news, that's why I put him on. He's going to be the new head of the search engine at Google. And the reason why he's got a brain in his hand is also he's been a software engineer and artificial intelligence expert for all his life. So he's going to take over the search engine now. So there's a lot of artificial intelligence now going into Google. So what do I mean by this? Why am I telling you this? I think if you think about your industry, it's a lot about people-to-people communication too. But what if there's a barrier between those two people talking to each other? What if software more and more overtakes the role of communication? Like if you ask somebody, like you've seen before with this Amazon Echo thing, what's the best? Which is the best destination in the Baltics? Well, a human would probably answer you with something different than a machine, and the machine, you know, all how machines learn. There's different algorithms that might answer your questions differently. Or if you take a look at this is software, but this one was done by the Fraunhofer Institute from Germany 5 years ago. It's a simple software that analyzes your mood. So if you go there, software will tell you that's your age, that's your gender. That's fine, that's nothing, this is not rocket science, but this one here is the important part. Are you angry, are you happy, are you sad, are you surprised? And depending on your mood, you might get a different alternative proposed. So if you say, I need a holiday now, right, like we said before, software might analyze your mood, and then if you say, well, if the software thinks, well, you need relaxation, we'll send you there. The software thinks, well, you're in the mood for actions, we'll send you there. So this is something we really have to think about, and I just saw this today too. Apple has invested $1 billion in a new company that only deals with mood recognition technology. So this will be, I know it sounds kind of sci-fi now, but this will become reality very soon. So especially if you think about decision making, software has to be really thought about. And the software will not stay in the cylinder like you saw it before from Amazon. It will be more and more human, like you see here.
As a result of a collaboration between the speech and vision groups at the Cambridge Research Lab in the UK. Until recently, I only had a voice. Now I have a synthesized face too. Last year, I could be very sad or be very angry. But this year I can be happy and afraid and even talk in a soothing way.
Biggest difference.
So the problem is, the issue is that the software, when that stay in a box, it will look more and more human. And companies are working on home consoles. For example, this one here, Emma Spark, we tested
We want to be able to empower
works.
a machine.
So this software will analyze your mood, like I said, like I told you before, and then give you different pieces of content that you're interested in, like you see here in this example.
TC, are you there?
Of course, Sarah. Are you okay?
I'm fine. I'm just waiting for John to pick me up and he's late.
Can I show you something that will make you feel better?
That'd be great, thanks.
See, mood is analyzed. Probably if the mood would be different content would be sensitive. So if you think about your industry, This will become more and more important because all the big players are working on this. This is Facebook Moneypenny. Has anyone heard of this before? Raise your hand. No. This is the newest thing. You know, Mark Zuckerberg, every year he comes out, he has a different approach or a different New Year's resolution. 2 years ago he wanted to learn Chinese. This year he said, well, I'll program, or I have my people program a digital assistant who can help me in my everyday life. This one is already out there. It's called Moneypenny, like, you know, from the James Bond movie. Chief Secretary. So this thing will assist you with anything you need. So you just could go here and say, well, I need this and that. What do you think? And for example, here you can't read this in the back, but I'll read it to you. My friends are having a baby. Can you give me a suggestion? What about shoes? Baby shoes, pictures, cost so much. Yes, shoes are perfect. Buy, end of everything. So this is already reality, and the interesting thing about this is this Moneypenny assistant, it's half machine, half human, so at the moment they work with people and artificial intelligence only because they want to learn the machine, how to get better, and in the near future this will be only machines taking the decisions. So this means for you, if you, for example, think about tourism industry, I need holiday and so on, you get the picture where this could be going to and who are the people you probably should talk to. And if you combine the software with the hardware, robots and drones, it gets even more interesting, I think, because then all these things already are getting a face in the body. So we used to know robots from, you know, heavy machine work. They're already fascinating machines that can do a lot of things, like you see here from Shaft with Google. They can lift heavy weights, they can open doors, build houses, and so on. But the interesting part is this here. I showed this at the keynote I told you before when I was in Colombo in Sri Lanka last year. Starwood Hotels, they're already working on robots for hotels. This one looks a little bit like R2-D2. So they're already working on robots that are going to be used in the hospitality industry. Take a look at this.
It might sound like something right out of the Jetsons, but it's real and it's here right now. One of the world's top hotel chains has begun using robots to deliver items like towels or toothbrushes right to your room. So does this mean robots will be taking away jobs from hotel workers? And how will it change the hospitality industry? Josh Lipton reports.
This is what we used to know robots for, and they're still out there, right? Heavy machine work and so on. Then we came to this Google car and so on, so a lot of machine working here. But in the tourism industry, the big issue is that they're not going to take away jobs, but they're going to just replace stupid tasks and give the more emotional part to humans.
The robot itself is designed by startup Savio, which has received funding from the likes of Google Ventures. But even the company's CEO thinks robots can actually only do so much.
Robots can do simple things pretty well, and they can do them reliably and over, but they're not going to do like all the things that a person can do. So robots aren't like going to replace people, but they can basically be a productivity tool.
This is just a pilot program, but Starwood Hotels hopes to roll out these robots to nearly 100 locations around the world. And as costs of sensors inside the robot comes down, the idea becomes more affordable.
It's going to come in at, fraction, a few $1,000s will be, in that kind of range. It's not going to be hundreds of thousands. It's not going to be multiple tens of thousands of dollars.
A few $1,000s? Not too bad, right? So production costs getting down and down. And I also wanted to show you this because those things get more and more into areas where we're not thinking about. So this could be your future chef preparing a typical meal. Presented at the Hanover Robotics Fair, market ready in 2017, costs 10,000 British pounds. And this is a robot, like a kitchen unit that learns from you, like it watches YouTube videos or watches you doing things, and then they learn. And then basically this kitchen unit can, whatever you enter, do a replica of whatever you've learned it before. So this might be an interesting aspect too. And I also wanted to picture something up because on the phone when we talked about the briefing for this conference today, you said there's a lot of drone companies here too. And this is my also my connection to the whole social media thing, which will be the last part that I'll be talking about.
It's a video of you taken by a drone that's flown high up into the sky.
Machines also playing a major issue here, so
New Zealand landscape behind you. Once your droning has been
you can see what these things can do for us, right? They can bring us toothbrushes, they can take pictures of us, a lot of different options that are out there. Regulations, of course, are always an issue.
Wanaka and Canterbury. So for an awesome memory of your trip, head to our Facebook page to find out where the drones will be. Then get ready for the ultimate holiday memory.
So this was machines with tourism and machines or drones doing selfies. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about, because I started with attention economy, which is kind of a marketing topic, and I want to end this presentation with social spin, which is nothing new, right? Social media has been around for years, but a question that's very often asked to us is like, what's the next thing, right? When is social media, I would say, over, what's the next thing we should concentrate on? And my message is, this thing will never be over. The social spin is going to keep following us for the next years. It's just going to be different, and it's just going to intensify. We're creating so many data in terms of what we as humankind have been collecting so far in terms of data has been 5 billion gigabytes until the year 2003. Now I know this is a number that's very, very hard to imagine, but nowadays, and that would be my question to you, we're generating the same amount of data in a shorter period of time. Have a guess? What could it be? A year? Half a year?
1 day.
1 day? Any other guess?
1 hour.
1 hour? 10 minutes. But probably, you know, in a couple of days, this might change again. It's a great book. It's called Abundance: The Future is Better Than You Think by Peter Diamandis who's one of the founders of the what do you call it? Singularity University. Some incredible numbers in there, but this just opened my mind to it's just such an incredible amount of data. A lot of this is because we communicate so much using social media. So we call this connected experience. You know, this has been one of the major drivers of social media in the last year. Apps like Periscope or Meerkat, where you can do live streaming of whatever you do. This will get more and more, or this will intensify more and more if you have devices like this here. This is just a Google Glass, which probably will have a comeback in the next years. But if we have devices that make it more easy for us to do live streaming, and I think live streaming, the live streaming of your experiences is something that's very relevant for tourism, because if you go somewhere and you share your pictures, you share your videos, if you can share your life experience from the foreign destinations, that's awesome. That's what you want to see. So I'll just give you an impression of this, what they've done here. It's not from tourism industry, but I told you in the beginning that doesn't matter because it's all about the transfer from one industry to the other. So what you see here is they used the Google Glass, which you could use for live streaming activities. They used it in before the start of an NBA game in the US. The Sacramento Kings had the best players wear those glasses, and you could see the warm-up phase. You could see them, you know, doing the exercises, throwing some baskets. And this is great content, right? This is something that you want to see because everybody likes to see the matches if you're into basketball, but this is content that you can't see. And if you imagine people having devices where you can live stream your holiday experiences, that's an awesome thing to do. And in the future, I think it's not only going to be us who will be doing the live streaming, but it's going to be more and more machines or the Internet of Things. The things will do some kind of live streaming by themselves. Like this one here, the Google shoe that was presented in Austin, Texas. It's only a prototype, but it's a sneaker that has sensors, a speaker, and it's connected via Bluetooth to your mobile phone, and it comments on what you're doing.
Here we go.
So this is the shoe commenting, it's not a human.
Are you a statue? Let's do this already.
And it posts those statements on the social networks and so on, so it's probably not necessary that you do something personally, it's probably going to be something not human doing things. Yeah, you made me a very proud shoot. You made me a very proud man by listening to me, so I fill your head with a lot of different topics going on now. I would like to thank you all for your attention, and I'm here for any questions. Thanks a lot. Hope you're inspired.